Of the nearly 40,000 German sailors who climbed into a U-boat during World War II, only about 6,000 ever came home. The rest were lost to the depths, crushed, drowned, burned, or left drifting in silence. Germany's undersea hunters didn't just stalk Allied ships, they became prey themselves. Behind every successful strike was a crew trapped in suffocating steel, where every dive could be their last dot. So how did one of the most feared weapons of the war become one of the deadliest death traps? The answer lies in the cold corridors of steel, leaking pipes, and pressure that could tear a man apart in a heartbeat. This is the terrifying story of why nearly 9 out of 10 U-boat sailors never returned. Decades before the world's first global war, Germany was already dreaming of battles beneath the waves. In 1850, a bold engineer named Wilhelm Bauer designed a primitive submarine. It sank almost immediately, but the idea lingered waiting for technology to catch up. By the early 1900s, Germany built a true undersea fleet not to explore, but to fight. They couldn't match Britain's surface navy, so instead, they would fight from below, and the U-boat became their weapon of choice. When World War I broke out, Germany unleashed just 28 submarines, crude, slow, and unstable. They spent most of their time on the surface, diving only to strike or escape. Yet even these fragile machines changed naval warfare forever. In September 1914, a single U-boat sank 3 British cruisers in under an hour, killing more than 1,400 men. Suddenly, nowhere on the ocean was safe. At first, U-boats followed old-world rules of war, giving crews time to abandon ship before sinking them. But once Britain armed merchant ships with hidden guns, mercy vanished. Germany turned to unrestricted submarine warfare. Civilians, merchant ships, even hospital vessels, were now targets. By the end of the war, over 5,000 ships had been destroyed. The Treaty of Versailles tried to end it. Submarines were banned, but Germany never truly gave them up. They designed new models in secret, built exports for other navies, and perfected their craft. When Hitler rose to power, the disguise ended. The U-boat fleet returned faster, deadlier, and guided by Admiral Karl Dönitz. His plan was simple: wolf packs, groups of submarines coordinating attacks on Allied convoys, striking from every direction like predators closing in on prey. In 1939, on the very first day of Britain's entry into the war, a German U-boat sank the SS Athenia civilian passenger ship. Over 100 innocents died. The message was clear: this would be total war. The Type 7 U-boat became the backbone of the fleet. At 220 feet long, it could travel thousands of miles, dive deeper than most Allied depth charges, and carry 14 torpedoes, mechanical predators that could split a ship in half. Convoys became floating targets. A single successful strike meant thousands of tons of food, fuel, and soldiers lost to the sea. It wasn't just warfare, it was economic strangulation. The Atlantic became a graveyard. But by 1943, the hunters became the hunted. Sonar, radar, long-range aircraft, and escort carriers turned the tide. In May of that year alone, Black May, Germany lost 43 U-boats. Nearly 2,000 submariners vanished in a single month. From then on, every patrol was a death sentence. Life inside a U-boat was hell. Dozens of men crammed into a steel tube with no fresh air, no sunlight, and barely enough food. Sweat, mildew, and diesel fumes choked the air. Silence was low on cough, or clattering wrench could bring death from above. Water was rationed. Hygiene was impossible. Skin rotted. Food spoiled. Men slept in shifts, in beds still warm from another man's body. And when death came, it came in the most horrific ways. Crushed instantly by pressure when the hull cracked. Suffocated in darkness as oxygen ran out. Drowned slowly as seawater rose inch by inch. Burned alive by chlorine gas and battery fires. There was no dignity. Sometimes, a dead crewman was stored beside the torpedoes until his body rotted by war's end. The numbers told the truth. Out of 40,000 U-boat sailors, over 30,000 never returned. A loss rate of up to 91%, the deadliest of any German branch. They were mostly boys 18 to 24 years. Old told they were fighting for glory. Most died without even firing a shot. Survivors returned broken, haunted by the sound of sonar pings and the groaning of steel around them. Germany's U-boats sank over 2,700 Allied ships. They delayed invasions, starved supply lines, and scarred the Atlantic with wreckage, but the cost was unimaginable. Today, most of those submarines still rest on the seabed, silent coffins holding the remains of young men who never escaped the dark. Their story isn't one of victory, it's one of tragedy.